GDP and welfare, they are directly related with each other. A higher gross domestic product implies more production of goods and services. It means that more availability of goods and services is there in a country. A higher GDP may not necessarily mean higher welfare of the people. GDP is expressed in two ways, as real GDP or GDP at constant prices and nominal GDP or GDP at current prices. Real GDP or GDP at constant prices, what is it? It is expressed at base year price, that is, when the goods and services are produced by all the producing units in the domestic territory of a country during an accounting year, say 2010, and valued these at base year prices, say 2000, it is called real GDP. That is, price of the current year, price of the base year and quantity of the current year. Price of the base year into quantity of the current year. It changes only by change in physical output, not by change in the price level. It is a true indicator of economic development. So what is nominal GDP? When the goods and services are produced by all the producing units in the domestic territory of a country during an accounting year and valued these at current year's prices, it is called nominal GDP or GDP at current price, that is, price of the current year into quantity of the current year. It is not a true indicator of economic development. So, if nominal GDP and real GDP are given, we can find out Gnp deflator or GDP deflator. If it is GDP deflator, it is the domestic income concept. When we add NFIA, net factor income from abroad, it becomes GNP. Okay, so how is GDP deflator or Gnp deflator is calculated? Nominal GDP divided by real GDP into 100. Or if it is national income concept, nominal GNP divided by real GNP into 100. So in order to calculate, in order to understand GDP deflator, we have to get the values of nominal GDP and real GDP. How can we calculate nominal GDP or nominal GNP? It is the current year price. GDP at current year price, that is price of the current year into quantity of the current year. Real GDP is price of the base year into quantity of the current year. We will see that through an example. So GDP or GNP deflator explains how inflation has affected the GNP over the course of a year. This ratio helps to determine the real GNP, that is national income at constant price, as opposed to nominal GNP, national income at current price. National income at constant price or real GDP is price of the base year into quantity of the current year. And the nominal GDP or nominal GNP, that is at current prices, is price of the current year into quantity of the current year. In order to calculate GNP deflator, a base period is required. Then we have to calculate current GNP also. When both are calculated, nominal GDP or nominal GNP and real GNP, they are calculated, then nominal GDP divided by real GDP into 100, we will get GDP deflator. One example, suppose India produces 100 kilogram of wheat in 2020 at 20 rupees per kilogram. The nominal GDP will be price of the current year into quantity of the year, that is 2000 rupees. Similarly, in the year 2021, India produces 200 kilogram of wheat at 30 rupees per kilogram. Then at current prices, it will be 6000 rupees. That is nominal GDP in 2021 is 6000 rupees. But real GDP will be only 4000 rupees. That is 2020 is the base year. So when GDP is calculated at a base year price, real GDP in 2021 will be price of the base year, that is 20 rupees into quantity of the current year, that is how much is the current year quantity? That is 200. So 200 into 20, 4,000. So GDP deflator of 2021 is equal to nominal GDP 6,000 divided by real GDP 4,000 into 100. It will be 150. Thus, GDP deflator explains how inflation or the price level, increase in price, has affected GNP over the course of a year. So, the general price level, inflation, it has affected the GNP over the course of a year. Next, we are going to see green GNP. What is green GNP? The gross national product measures the welfare of a nation's economy through the aggregate of products and services produced in that nation. And national income accounting does not take into account the depletion of natural resources. Many goods and services are produced, but it leads to depletion of natural resources. And national income accounting does not take into account this depletion. So in the recent years, the economists have realized that the cost of producing GDP need to be incorporated in estimating GDP to find the actual welfare of the people. Therefore, in estimating the real GDP, the cost of pollution of air and water by the firms, by the industries, in the production process of goods must be subtracted to get the real GDP or GNP, which is called green GNP. It is an indicator of economic growth with environmental factors taken into consideration along with the standard GDP of a country. The economic costs of environment degradation and depletion of natural resources on account of overall production would be subtracted in the calculation of a firm's contribution to output. When the COVID lockdown is over, there is a serious need for considering on the real cost of environmental damage. In countries around the world, rich and poor, the COVID-19 crisis has exposed the weakness of the economies. And this is one of the important topics in the world forums: how to save, how to conserve and preserve the nature, the natural resources. We need to ensure we are better prepared to withstand future pandemics.